Hi, I'm Miriam Joy and welcome to my studio. Today we're working on our skull and crossbone wreath, and this is a lot of fun. We're going to be using mesh and dollar store items, so let's get started on this fun project. This is my skull and crossbones wreath, and I had a lot of fun making this, and I wanted to keep it with just the basic, mostly black, but just a little bit of white to kind of set it off. And I went to the Dollar Tree and I picked up the wreath form, and I needed 15 yards, so these are 5 yards a piece of the black mesh, and then 2 of the ribbon, and I wanted the skulls in them, so anything that was kind of a white and black. So these are 3 yards, so I needed a total of 6 yards, and then a black tool, and then I found this really cool spider web tool this year at Walmart, and I just had a lot of fun with that as well. And this one was 15 feet. I didn't need that much at all, or 15 yards, and I'm not quite sure how much, but just one spool of those will be more than enough. So I'm going to get started and show you how we're going to do the outside. We are going to be using black pipe cleaners to put it together with, so I'm going to first cut these in half, and then I'm going to cut them in 3s. So I get 6 ties out of those, and you can go to your craft store or Walmart. I like to do wreaths different than a lot of people do. I've kind of got my own twist to them. So this one we're going to do a little bit different, and we're actually going to be doing the outside and the inside with the black, and we're first going to start this off by tying it to the wreath, or my frame, my wreath frame, and this was also at the Dollar Tree. Come on, Dollar Tree, give me a call. And so we're going to push this through, and we're going to bring this up about 5 inches here, and I'm going to grab my ruler and just kind of give me a baseline here. So this is one of my products. This is a flexi, and it's nice because it's bendable and pliable. So I'm going to do that, like I said, about 5 inches off from that bottom part there, and more or less. You don't have to worry about it. But what we're going to do once we get going here is we're going to anchor one side of the ribbon and not the other side, and this one is anchored because that's where we started. We'll show you that when we go to the next one. That'll make a little bit more sense, because what it does is it kind of fans out and covers up more of the wreath that way. So we're going to be working under this, coming into the inside, and this one probably around 3 inches. We'll take a look here. See if that looks right, around 3 inches. Yep, pretty much so by the time it gets done here. And I'm going to go ahead and anchor this one a little bit different as well, so we have it tied and it doesn't slip around on us here. Now that we have those to anchor, we're going to be working back and forth. So we're going to come back. We're never going to go in this middle space while we're using the black. And come up, and we can measure off of our other one now, make it about that part. And remember I said we don't tie this one off, so this one we're not going to tie off. We're going to tie the back one off. So this one stays loose so it can kind of fan out. And we're going to tie this guy here. I'm just going to use this one over here because it's easier. I thought he got a little bit bigger there on me. So we want to do about 5, and it does not have to be exact. I'm just trying to give myself a good base to work with. So this back part of this one, we are now going to just tie off. And it's easier, I have done these in the past without tying them, but it's harder to keep them because when you go to this side and pull, then you pull it through, and it's harder to keep them the right size and everything. So that's the reason that we do tie the one side of it, but by not tying the front side with this, it covers this whole area here. So that's the reasoning behind it. And we're going to try and do at least 4 in each section, and with this one roll right here, the 5 yards, we should be able to do 2 sections. So I'm going to pull this guy out here. Got him way too long, but I'm trying to unstick him here. So we scoot that guy over and pull this guy down. And he should be about 3 inches there. And we're going to, again, just tie that back side, that last one, to our base. Then we're going to come back through there, measure up to your last guy, however tall he was, and again we're going to tie that last guy there. So this is going to be our 4th loop on the top, and I'm going to anchor it to this part here so again it doesn't slide or move around. So we're going to get that guy there. So we've got 4 on top, and then we want to do 4 on the bottom before we jump our, oops, he moved around on me. Guess I didn't get him on that one. I thought I had him on it. We'll just throw another one on top of him. There we go. So I'm going to tie this guy here just on the one side again, and again I'm going to tie that guy on to that next section so he will anchor him and he won't slide. That way you don't end up with all of your ribbon in the middle or to one side or anything like that. That's the reasoning. So now we're going to go on the other side of this, and we're just going to continue, and I'm going to try to get 4 in here on the top and 4 on the bottom. If you only get 3, there's nothing wrong with that. If you're getting less than that, you need to make your loop smaller, and I'll come back on when we get to that double section and show you how to put your next color in. I've gotten 4 loops in the top, and so I'm working on the bottom one. And we're going to get 4 on each one of those, and we still have plenty. If I can pull this guy out even, we'll be good. Let's just start over there and pull him through, right? So we have him right there. So we're going to anchor him on. Now there's a couple of things that we could do with them. This guy's about the same length, so I think I'm just going to leave him straight out. If he was shorter, you may just want to cut it off right there. And then we're going to start the next one just like we began. So I'm going to anchor this guy to this side one. And I didn't do this last one to the side. I'm going to start off by anchoring that one to the side. And just leave him like that. If you don't like that, then cut him off. There's no right or wrong on that. So I'm just going to start this guy again, tuck that tail under. You want to leave enough tail that if you happen to pull it or anything, it doesn't come undone. So we're going to anchor him on that part. And just start all over again. So we're going to go ahead and do this, and we'll even finish up just the same way as we did right there until we get that completely covered with the black. We've gone all the way around, and you should end up with just a little bit. If you find where you need to cut it off, then cut it off if you have too much extra, but you should end up pretty even on that. So now that we've got that all the way around, we're going to come back and we're going to start with our first ribbon. So I'm anchoring my ribbon on with my pipe cleaners, and we're going to do 5 loops in each section. This is going to take a total of 6 yards. So if you're using ribbon that is 3 yards or 9 feet, it's going to take 2 of them. And I'm going to make my loops 3 inches tall, and I am going to measure this out, and I am going from this wire ring right here to the next wire ring, and those are the ones that we skipped when we were making our original design. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and forth on the wire. So this one was here, so I'm going to go right there now, and I'm just going to measure it, make sure it's the same size as the last one I did, and just tie that on with my pipe cleaners. And I'm sticking with my skull theme, but if you wanted to do this design and change it to any color or anything you wanted to do, you could surely do that just by changing your colors and what you put on that. So we have 3. I want to jump a ring here with you, so you from section to section. So I'm going to get 2 more on here real quick, and then we'll jump that section. So we have 4. I want to make sure that ended up being that size. 4 and 5. So all I'm simply going to do is tie this one off here, and that's my 5th one inside this section, and then I'll jump here, and that'll be my first one on the 5 on here. I'm going to go ahead and work until I end this first row, and then we'll show you how to end and start again. So I've come up to my 5th one on my last place, and I have about that much left over. So what I'm probably going to do is just trim that just a little bit and put my next ribbon right over the top of that. And so I have enough to tie on both sides. Actually, that's a curved piece, so we'll just open that up and use it right there. And just tie right on. So I'm going to jump on over that next one and just continue working down the other half of that wreath. Now you will have the spaces in between. That's what we want, because we're going to come back and use that with our tulle. And you really have to be really careful when working with tulle and mesh. And if you'd rather just use the ribbon, then you could put 10 in each section, and then you would need 12 yards to do that all the way around. Or thicker ribbon. If you had like the 6-inch ribbon or the 4-inch ribbon, then you would use less. So I've taken my ribbon all the way around, and I ended it just like we started it. And so now we're going to get ready to do our tulle. And I probably mentioned earlier, I found this really cool spider web tool at Walmart this year. It's kind of in the seasonal section, but if you couldn't find that, you could use silver glitter or a white glitter, something that's a little bit different from the black. And because we have 5 loops in each section, and there's 6 sections, we're going to cut 30, because 6 times 5 is 36, or 30 black tulle squares and 30 spider web tulle squares. And if you get your paper cutter out to cut your tulle, it is so much easier. You can just sit here and roll it like that. And this is a really nice lightweight paper cutter that we have at miriamjoy.com in case you need one. And then once we get all of those cut, the one thing I'm going to tell you again is keep your tulle away from your mesh as much as possible. So get these squares totally away from it because it is going to stick to the mesh. And so I'm going to lay this down here. And we're going to be going opposite of where we tied off our ribbon. And you should have all of these hole areas here. So I'm going to take a black tulle square, and I'm going to take a designer if you ended up with some glitter. The black is just to kind of give it a little bit more body. And I'm going to put the 2 of those together. And if I can get them here, being kind of static clingy. And then I'm just going to put them together, pull them together, and we're going to tie those off just opposite of all of the ribbon loops. So all of the opposite of the ribbon loops all the way around, and like I said, you should have 30 of those. And if you can keep that away from there and get it in, and then if it sticks to your mesh later on, that's okay. But once you've got that in, you're pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and do that all the way around. Isn't that wonderful how much that tulle really filled that out and just really made that nice and fun and full? Another thing you could use is you could stick with the spider web theme and change your ribbon up to spider web, and you could put a spider web in the back and add a couple of spiders on it like that if you wanted to. So just some different options. So now we're going to go ahead and let's add our hanger to this. So I'm going to flip it over and find a good spot. I'm going to turn my pipe cleaner in half here, and then we're going to tie it one more time, and then I am just going to loop it and pull it through. Do the other way here so I have the solid loop up at top and that part down at the bottom. And just have our hanger nice and good there. If you want to do it bigger, just don't loop it. Just do it one and just loop that through. And then I'm just going to hot glue on my guys. And I just went and found like the different skeletons. I actually found this as a garland, and there was 6 pieces, so I was able to use it for 2 wreaths. But just go to any of the Halloween sections and pick out just the little crossbone and skeletons or whatever. So I am just going to hot glue those in 3 different places. You could even come in and put the little skeletons that are in the garland as well. So there's a bunch of things you could play with that and do with that. So just use your creativity and make it your own. Well, we finished with that. Isn't that really look cool and look great on the door? Another thing I want to kind of tell you about is you can always use them for centerpieces in a table. I'm going to use something that would make our little part sit higher, but you can put lots of fun things in the middle of it. You could put candles and it would look really, really cool. So think outside the box, give it your own flair, and give us a thumbs up. Tell us you liked our videos. We've got lots of Halloween videos coming out this year. If you ever have a question, please email me at art@miriamjoy.com, and come on over and support us on our store at miriamjoy.com. Have a safe and fun Halloween.
Ha 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 ha.